Hi everybody. Okay, this is the first in a series of videos to explain a little bit of grammar. I hope you like it. Today it's about comparatives and superlatives. Okay, comparatives and superlatives in English, it's something that many students have problems with. So I wanted to explain the rules very clearly and to show the difference of when we use the comparative, when we use the superlative, and how we make the comparatives and superlatives. Okay. Um, okay. First of all, it says here the rule for forming comparatives and superlatives from adjectives is based on the number of syllables in the adjective. What does that mean? Well, that means that we have different adjectives which describe people or things, old, happy, beautiful, busy, boring, etc. Okay, and they have different sizes. They have more or fewer syllables. For example, old has one syllable, old. Happy, two syllables, happy. Beautiful, beautiful has three syllables. Okay. Busy has two, boring has two, big has one, good has one, new has one, wonderful has three, great has one, interesting has three or four, depending on the pronunciation. Interesting or interesting, we can have four. Young has one, and lucky has two. One, two, lucky. All right, so that's the first thing we have to think about, the size of the adjective. Okay, so when we know the size of the adjective, we know the number of syllables, then we can form the comparative and the superlative. Okay, first, what is the comparative? What is the superlative? Well, the comparative is when we want to make a comparison between two things, okay? And the superlative is when we want to make a comparison of one thing against everything else. For example, old is an adjective. To make the comparative, when we have one syllable, we say older. So we say, we add ER and we make older. For example, if I want to talk about my brother and myself, I can say, I am older than my brother. Okay. I am more old than him. We say, I am older than him. We don't say more old. Okay. The superlative, for the one syllable adjective, we have to add est. All right. So old, older, and the oldest. Okay. For example, in my family, there's me, my wife, my children. We are a big family. In my family, I am the oldest. Okay. I'm also the fattest as well, but that's another adjective. So the oldest is one compared with everything. Okay. Another example is big, big, bigger, and the biggest. We'll see the rule in a moment why we put double G here. Okay, we'll look at that in a moment. Okay, the next group are adjectives with two syllables that finish with a Y. For example, happy. In this case, we have to add IER, and we have to change the Y to the I. So we say happy and happier. Okay, so if one person is more happy than another, we say he is happier than the other person. Okay, and the superlative is the same idea. We put IEST and we say the happiest. Okay, another example is lucky, lucky, luckier, the luckiest. Okay, the next group are adjectives with two, three, or four syllables. In this case, when it's two syllables, it doesn't finish with a Y. For example, boring. Boring has two syllables. There's no Y on the end of boring. So we say more boring or less boring. In this case, we don't add anything to the adjective. We can put something in front of the adjective. We say more boring, or if it's negative, less boring. Okay. In the superlative, we say most and least. The most boring, the least boring. Okay. Another example is interesting. Again, interesting could have three or four syllables depending on the pronunciation. More interesting or less interesting, the most interesting or the least interesting. Okay, be careful with the pronunciation of this. Least, less and least. Okay. The final group are the irregular adjectives. These are adjectives which don't follow the rules here, and the comparative and superlative is really different. For example, good. Good has one syllable, but we can't say gooder. Gooder doesn't exist. In this case, good changes to better. It's irregular. And the superlative is very easy. Just think about the football team, Liverpool, my team. It's the best, of course. So better is when you compare two. For example, Liverpool is better than Manchester United, for example. And the best is the in the world is the one better than everybody else. That's Liverpool. Um, the next one is bad. It's an irregular adjective. The comparative, we say worse, and the superlative, the worst. Okay. And finally, another one we can say, which is irregular, is far, further, and the furthest. Remember, far is talking about the distance of one place to another. More far, we say further, and the superlative is the furthest. It's not possible to say farer. It's not possible to say badder. It's not possible to say gooder. They have one syllable, but they are irregular. Okay. Let's look at the spelling now. When we have adjectives with one syllable, then if it finishes with one vowel and one consonant, then to write the comparative or the superlative, we need to have double the consonant. So big becomes bigger with double G. Hot is hotter with double T. And fit is fitter with double T. Again, we don't say more big, we don't say more hot. We say bigger, hotter, fitter. Okay. This is not the case when the word ends in W. If it finishes with a W, we can't put WW. No, that's only a website, I think. So we have new and newer. We just add ER onto the end. We don't have W twice. WW. Okay. Let's look at an example. Okay, good, better, and the best. So good is the adjective. Better is comparing two things, and the best is comparing one. Is the best from everything. For example, I can say Ronaldo is good. He's okay. He's good. Uh, Obviously, this guy Gerard, Steven Gerrard, is better than Ronaldo. Obviously, better than. Okay. The best. Well, the best for me. The best is Messi. I can say Messi is the best. So Ronaldo is good. Is for Ronaldo. Gerrard and Ronaldo, to make the comparative, we need better and than. So Gerrard is better than Ronaldo. Messi, we're comparing Messi with everybody. I can say Messi is the best. Okay, another example. Funny, funnier, the funniest. Again, adjective, comparative, superlative. This guy, Mr. Bean, is funny. I'm not convinced about that, but he's funny. I think this guy, I don't know if you know him, his name's Ricky Gervais. I think Ricky Gervais is funnier than Mr. Bean. So we're comparing the two. Ricky Gervais is funnier than Mr. Bean. And finally, of course, the funniest of all is Benny Hill. So Benny Hill was, unfortunately, he's no longer living, but Benny Hill was the funniest. Okay. I'm going to give you a quick exercise. You have 1 minute. I want you to quickly look at the sentences here and put the adjective at the end into the correct form. For example, she looks a lot than she really is. In this case, we have than, so we need the comparative. So the answer here is young, younger. Okay, you have 1 minute. Go. Here is the time. If it's not enough time, pause the video. Do it in your own time. If you can do it in 1 minute, fantastic. Remember, think if we need the comparative or we need the superlative. If 1 minute isn't enough, stop the video. That's okay. I'm going to show you the answers after a minute. Think about the size of the adjective. How many syllables? If it's one or two with a Y, if it's irregular, if it's 3 or 4, that's the key. Okay, 3 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, if you haven't finished, pause the video. Let's look at the answers though. The answers are on the next page. Okay, she looks a lot young. Well, here we have than, so we need to use the comparative. It's younger than. Okay, my house is than your house. So we're comparing two houses, two syllables. So we say more modern. Okay. Number three, what is the place you've ever visited? Okay, here is the, and we're talking about ever. So we're talking about all your life. So in this case, it's the best place. Here, she is than she used to be. So it's comparing now and the past. So we're comparing two things. So we need the comparative, and we need pretty is with Y, so it changes to prettier. Okay. Number five, her dog is the friendliest dog I know. The city in my country is the capital. Well, we're talking about one city comparing with everything, the biggest city. Number seven, she feels a little something than she did last week. So it's comparing. We have than, so we need happy, happier. Her new doctor is the doctor in the hospital. Again, we have the, this time professional is a big adjective. So we need to say the most professional. This year's budget, the money we have is much than last year's. So it's a comparison, much smaller than last year's. And number 10, he promised to take her to the hotel in the resort. We have the, so we need to say the most expensive hotel in the resort. Okay. All right, guys, that's just a quick few examples, but these are the rules. Try to remember the rules and you shouldn't have any more problems with adjectives, comparatives and superlatives. If you have any doubts, send me, you can find me on Facebook, you can find me on you can find me on Twitter, you can find my webpage here. But if you have any doubts, please contact me and I'll try to help you with these a little more. Okay, see you. Bye.